Now you are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So let me start with very basic level since it is in advanced materials and tools. Let me start with the very basic level because without this knowledge of this basic level, it is very difficult to understand the concept. Okay, so bondings between atoms, packing of atoms, you already studied in the material science taken by Gundalwiji sir. So anyway, we'll go for a quick review. Okay, so periodic tables, and you have most of them will know the names and other things. The H indicate which material or which element. H indicate. Now I have to pick up one by one. So will you guys will answer, or I have to pick up somebody from the group?
Hydrogen, sir.
Ah, so tell me something about hydrogen. Any properties?
Sir, it is very combustible, sir. It can easily catch
Okay.
fire.
Okay. So lighter in weight, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm. Then next to hydrogen, which one is available?
Sir, second is helium, sir.
Okay.
It is noble gas. It is lighter
Mm.
in weight. Uh,
Mm.
Frequently, we have seen in balloons, decorative balloons.
Decorative balloons. Okay. Mm. Okay. Okay. Mm.
Next is lithium, sir. Lithium.
Okay. No, 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 leave it, leave it. So you can see there is a lot and lot of colors are given. Okay. Each colors indicating the materials having some unique property and they are different from the others. Okay. So if you see the hydrogen that is in green color, just leave it. Okay. If you see the other extreme hand, if left side hydrogen is in left side, just check the right hand side. We have dark blue. Okay, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, etc. etc. So what is that elements? Do we have any common names for that elements? Helium, neon, argon,
Noble
krypton,
gases.
noble gases.
Noble
So
gases.
why
Inert
we are
gas,
calling?
noble gas.
Yeah, why we are calling those items are some noble gases?
Because
That's
it
the
Because
is
they
question.
are inert, they don't react.
Hmm. They won't react,
They won't
right?
react easily. Yes.
Okay, okay. So in the bulb, before we start using the LED and other things, we are using the bulbs. Inside the bulbs, we are filling these gases only, right? Because they won't easily react with any elements, right? Suppose if you are filling the gap with oxygen or nitrogen, what will happen when we are passing the
It will
current in
burn
the
up.
tungsten filament? It will become hot, okay? When the current is passing through any wires or anything, any materials, it produce heat. So what will happen, oxidation will take place if you are filling with normal air. So oxidation happen means the material property will change, you won't get the brightness, or it may took more time to reach the brightness. Okay, so instead of that only we are filling with what, non-reactive gases like argon, neon, krypton, etc. etc. Right, these are all the simple reasons why we are choosing those gases for that particular applications. Likewise only next to that we have fluoride, chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc. So do you have anything about this one? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, etc.
Yes,
Halogens.
sir, they are halogens.
Halogens, right? So
Yes.
what are the properties, basic properties of halogens? There must be some
They are
unique property,
gases.
right?
Usually
Hmm?
gas. They are highly reactive
Okay,
and they form halides.
high.
okay, okay. Highly
Correct.
reactives. Okay, okay, that's enough. So
They
up
have
to
bright
this,
color. They are colorful, brightly colored.
they are colorful. Okay, okay,
Yes, sir.
that's enough. I think this is enough for us. So in the next elements we have carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur. Those things and it's okay. Okay. So if hydrogen as well as the extreme and helium, neon, they are not reactive, right? Helium, neon, argon, because their shells are completely filled. And you know that board model, let me check with the Rutherford board model and other things. So atomic structures and bondings of solids, it will be like this only. We have basically three elements, okay, EPN, electron, proton, neutron, EPN only. And you know that electrons or protons are equally distributed and numbers will be equal, and we have something unknown factor, that is neutron, okay. And you know that everything having some charges, positive, negative, and neutron is called by, because it doesn't have anything, it's neutral. That's it. So electron shell. And who is Gee? Any idea about this scientist?
Niels Bohr.
You think? Okay. Okay.
Neil
Bohr
Bohr.
only. Yeah. He only developed the models and other things without having any maximum equipments. On those days also, 19th century, he discovered and he developed these equations. And we have the arbitrary shells we have, okay. First N1, N2, N3, N4, likewise it will go, and we have a certain number of radius. And he only figured out what is atomic numbers, orbit numbers, etc., mass, and etc. Okay, so we have the shells names K, L, M, N, O, P. It will go like this, and he developed that equation. What is the equation? Small equation he developed. Based on that only we are filling the numbers. Okay, we are finding the numbers of each cells. Do you know that small formula? Can anyone tell? That formula is not here, I think. Bohr's model.
Formula of energy, sir.
That small formula was there. Depend on that formula only we are finding the numbers, each shells. In the first cell, how many atoms will be there? How many number of electrons or protons? What is the thing? Electrons. How much?
So
It will be
2n
two.
square.
Yeah.
Square.
Yeah. First shell it will be 2. Second 2, 8, it will go for next. Then slowly it will fill. If the shells is filled, they won't react with any other elements or materials. Like what we seen in the argon, krypton, neon. If you see, their shells are filled. If you see the top side, they are in 18th position. 18th. The top side, you have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they have 18th. So their shells are filled. So they won't go for any reactions. They won't match with anything easily. But if you're coming for halogens, we have 17. So if they are willing to accept only one electrons, they became stability. Okay, they become perfect. So that only they are always looking for something, electrons. So that only we calling they are highly reactive materials. Okay. Sometimes to speed up the process also we are using. And if you see the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc., they become salt, and they are allowed to eat the materials also. Like some what we say in the correct time, they love to make corrosions. Okay. So this is the model and this the thing. And you know that we have ionic, covalent, and metallic. These are the three bonding models. And ionic bonds, you know that only one ion will move from here to there. In the lithium fluorine, if you see in the lithium having 3, so if it is ready to lose 1, it becomes stable. It will be filled with 2. But at the same time, fluorine, just now only we have seen, it need 1 more. So it will easily take up the 1 more electrons from the lithium, and it will become stable. Okay, likewise only it is going. The salt which you are using, NaCl, also will be like that only. Okay, covalent means co means double. Okay, so what they are going to, they are unable to give up the electron, but they are willing to share, so that they become stable. Okay, some of the items are here is showing CH4. What is CH4? Any idea?
Methane.
Okay. Ethane or
Methane.
methane? Ethane or
Sir,
methane?
methane.
Okay, so easily
Methane.
formed. Yeah, another covalent bond example is H2O. Okay, you can see oxygen having 6, 2, 4, 6 blue color, and hydrogen having the green color electrons outside. So they are going to share. That's what we are getting, H2O. Okay. and some of the sizes and their gaps and other things. Metallic bondings, it will be like this. So electrons and will be placed inside that gaps. Okay, unit cell you already studied maybe in the +2 level. Okay, so we have number of unit cell. Okay, one by one it is blocked. That's what we're getting component. And we have the 7 crystal systems like cubic, hexagonal, monoclinic, etc. So basic are things. BCC, FCC and HCP are the 3 types most widely we are seen in the materials. Okay, some complicated shapes are available but not with all the materials, only few materials. And BCC, you know that body center we have one more extra. FCC in all the faces we have, and hexagon means top and bottom will be in hexagon, center we have something different. Okay, half of this thing. So structures of the materials and pure it's a phase changing and allotrophic form. Okay, pure aluminum also. So other than the BCC and normal crystal structure, we have amorphous, which is used in the glass, silicon, okay, polycrystallines and other things. So defects. So most of the time we have seen that defects are existing with the unit cell as materials and atom level, etc. Okay, accepted. So these are all the four types of categories: fine line and area defects. Okay, so everyone is already know. So what is the need or what is the important of defects? It is already existing. So what is the importance? Why we have to study? To check the defects, whether it's present or not, or something else is going to do.
Sir, it may impart some characteristic properties to the material.
Characteristics, materials, properties. Okay. So what type of characters is going to increase? Are you going to enhance the properties or are it going to destroy the properties?
It can increase the conductivity.
Okay. So
So it
close to
may
that
increase or
answer.
decrease the density of the material.
Okay. See students, if the vacancies are available, it can easily accommodate the foreign elements. That's why alloys are formed. If the materials are perfect, how can we able to place the foreign material inside some base metal? It's very difficult. So defects are available. In the defects are going to filled with the some other foreign material. That's why we are developing the alloys. Okay. They're also very helpful. Understand this concept. And lattice defects and other things. So you can see edge dislocations, screw dislocations, and these dislocations are the basic phenomena how the tensile specimen is getting break. Okay, right? So do you know the thing or not? First it will slide with each other, then slowly it will transfer the forces one place to another place, then sliding actions. After the sliding actions, breaking will be take place. It's a micro level. Okay, so 18% of the materials overall ball we have BCC structure. Then we are going for FCC more, and compared to this, high level materials are highest in the hexagonal. Okay, so in the titanium material you can see it's a different 22. Number 22 is titanium. It is in the normal ground room temperature it was in HCP, but at elevated temperature it became BCC. Okay, but we are calling that as a HCP structure only. And ferrous, as you can see, inga ferrous ferrous they have not mentioned anywhere. Very cool. Okay, so allotropic is the characters are depend upon the temperature. It may be change their phases. Okay, so that's called allotropic form. And we have iron as well as the titanium, two materials we have allotropic form. Okay, then that's it. So you have the Miller indices and other things, and we are going to use the Miller indices whenever we're going to figure out where is the plane and other things. But these Miller indices are very helpful when you are engaging yourself with XRD analysis. Okay, in the XRD analysis only we have these planes, numbers and other things, and we have to put and we have to check it out whether it's a BCC structure, FCC or HCP structure. Okay, and we can easily check it out the locations, what are the different phases available. As I told, if you want to check it out the phase structure ratios, whether BCC, HCP and FCC. So I told you titanium having allotropic form and iron also having allotropic form. So if you want to check it out the newly formed phases and their number quantitatively analysis means you can make a comparison between the normal one as well as the after heat treatment or after the process. Okay, you engage both samples with XRD and check the peaks, put the Miller indices and identify which phases is more and where is the peak, whether peak shifting is happened or not. Okay, check, then you will get a clear cut idea. Sometimes there, yeah, Fragg's law. So you know these two guys, right? Do you guys know these two?
Yes, sir.
Who are they? Who are they? Don't search it in the internet. Just tell who are they. Both are Bragg only. Okay. So they only figured out the 2D is equal to n lambda sin theta. 2D sin theta is equal to n lambda. That's a formula. So when they discovered this formula while doing his research, okay, it was his defractalized PhD work. Okay, entire program he did this thing. I have no idea what he is doing, but he believed that Tim Brackley is a brilliant student. He is discovering something. On those days, he is unable to prove something. The external candidate, he came, he verified his thesis, and he also told that I am not understanding any of your concept. But D. Brackley start explaining everything in 2 to 3 times. He rubbing the board, and it was so big, lengthy. He is making all this formula, and without any idea, he was offered or he got the PhD program award at the time. After he developed these things, nearly 20-30 Nobel prizes has been awarded to the scientists, those who are used these equations and find out the planes and phases, crystallographic, etc., by using the simple formula only. Okay, that is a history of de Braclay's research work and other things. Okay, so each material have their own characterization. So he used X-rays to find out what is the distance between two planes and the grain structure, orientations, etc. Okay, so as you know that if you're going for some manufacturing process like welding as well as casting, metal forming, strains and stress will be generated inside the materials, their phase and structures going to be changed. For that purpose only, you guys are already studied the heat treatment. Okay, annealing, tempering, hardening, normalizing, etc. After making any component, we'll go for further process. We'll check the properties, whether if it is fitting, okay, otherwise we'll go for heat treatment process, right? So during that phase process, whether the exact and microstructure changes are obtained or not, we want to check, right? Because their properties are depend on microstructures. For best example, after making some heat treatment or any manufacturing process in the steel, if we have maximum number of martensites, martensite form means what will happen? Their hardness will be very more. Okay, you cannot use it for the purpose where we need more elongations, because hardness is more by naturally if once we got martensite structure. So we can use the samples where we need more wear resistant, or we may engage the samples where we need more impact resistance. Okay, so to identify that, we cannot go for NDT. That means NDT means non-destructive testing, that we can go, but we will not get maximum answer. If any defects are present, we will get it. We have no other choice. We should engage our specimen with destructive testing. But it took more time. But after the destructive testing, with the tensile test, impact test, you cannot reuse the sample. But without doing anything, we want to check whether the exact phase is identified or not. Okay, for the purpose only, we are engaging our samples with XRD. So simply taking 10 mm cross 10 mm. Forget about the thickness. length and width should be 10 mm cross 10 mm, should be perfect square. That is the minimum size we need. Maximum size 15 mm into 15 mm. That is enough for identifying or using the XRD machines with a sample. Okay, after that some peaks will come, like in the Richter machines we have some peaks, right? Or in the uh, in hospital also we have something equipment, cardiogram and other things, we have certain number of peaks. Like, similarly the peaks will come, just match the peak with the standard numbers. Okay, each numbers will identify which material and what type of phases are available. You have to match. Then after that, without any pain, you can easily say that this material is available. If for me, I have a little bit knowledge in titanium, I'm telling, if number 40, that readings will be start from 0 to 90 degree. Okay, so most probably 0 to 30, most of the peaks are showing that it's a presence of oxides. Okay, so what we will do, we will remove the 30. After 30 only we will calculate. So 30 to 90 degree, what are the peaks are available, we will check it out. Each peak will identify one material. For titanium it is 40. If your material have a high peak at 40 means no doubt you have titanium. And if any ships are available, it should exactly present at 40. If 39.5 or 41.5 or 40.5, if we have any peak, there is no doubt something is happened due to heat treatment or manufacturing process. Some strains are happened. Depending upon whether it's a tensile or compressive, their peak shifting will be taken place. Okay, that's you can easily identify. And for told, so depend upon the phases. If hexagonal phases are available, 40 you will get peak. If you have beta phases, that is BCC structure, the peaks will be distributed with various number of levels. 70 you may get one peak, and 55 degree you will get one peak. Like this it will go. That you can easily compare your materials and its performance. The peaks I am telling, right, this will be the peaks, and we are giving the numbers by using the Miller indices. Okay, HKL indices will become along with the standard results, and by converting that HKL etc., and we will get these numbers. These numbers will clearly say that what is the structures. Okay, whether we have a BCC structure, HCP or FCC structures. As you can see, something 111, 200, 311, 222, etc., etc. It's all depending upon the phases and other things. I told you up to 30 we may have oxides. Here you can see 31 or 32 we have one big peak, and 40 to 40, 50 in between we have one big peak. Others are small peaks are available. That's minor peaks, nothing to worry about the minor peaks. So only two major peaks are available. You have to check it out, and you should go for the standard charts. There is a lot of standard charts has been developed for each and every material. You check it out at which material which these two peaks are matching. We have to tell that these peaks are for that material only. The material which is used or purchased from your market or did any modification, it will be that material only. Without any loss we can easily identify. Okay, and this is the peak pattern. It's for NaCl. As I told you, we have two major peaks. Okay, that's what two material, Na plus Cl. So one for Na, one for Cl. Okay, that also we can easily identify. Each material have their own peak. That's what I'm telling. And some of the peaks and their expressions. And the first one you can see MJ, that is nothing but martensite and austenite formed. Okay, in the heat treated things it is available. And second image you can see we have aluminum and ferrous. Okay, different aluminum alloys and other things are presented. Like this only. The last one is nothing for alpha beta titaniums. Okay, and I told about the peak shifting. The bottom side slide, as you can see, peak shiftings are available. Is that showing the strain is generated inside the material. Okay, so these are all the small things that I can express with connection with XRD. I forget where I kept my same term, etc. So I have to create the PPT again. So next class we may be talk about same term, etc. Let me check my hard disk. So students, any doubts with XRDs? A normal atomic bond, covalent bond, etc. You already studied in your alumni lab. Forget about it. You check it out with XRD. Sometimes in the exam, I may give some peaks and you have to put the Miller indices for those things. Okay. Never imagine that I will give theory questions only. I told you 60% theory, remaining 14% will be problematic. Like this also I can give. I may simply give the peaks and the numbers. Then you have to work it out with the Miller indices. Then you have to put. If needed, I will give some local reference. By using the reference, you have to match those peaks and you have to tell what is the phase percent, whether Martin percentage or which type of material you have it in your hand. Okay. And don't Google it, you won't get
Sir,
anything. Mm.
sir,
Mm.
please explain it again if possible.
Which one?
Sir, mirror indices, that XRD graph.
Which graph?
Sir, previous one.
Previous one. This one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See XRD. There is. Let me check. So in XR, if you want to plot any group, you should know the X and Y, right? In X direction, it is 2 degree by theta. Okay. Angle of intensity. Okay. And another one is intensity or arbitrary unit or anything. In Y direction, no need of giving any counts. Without any counts or units also you can go ahead. But in X directions, you should give the angles. It should be start from 0 to 90 degree. Okay. So most probably we will use 30 degree to 90 degree only. Okay. 0 to 30 degree will show the oxides which is formed in the material. Okay. So if you see this XRD pattern, this is belong to NaCl. So we have two elements. So two major peaks should be indicated. One for NaCl, one for Na, one for Cl. Okay, so forget about the other minor peaks that may be showing the other small elements, because in NaCl powder sometimes we will adding iodines. Okay, sometimes any dust may be happen. Okay, so leave the minor peaks. If you see the major peaks, only two. Let me check. We have the numbers after taking the XRD plot. It will give some numbers. That numbers we have to work it out and we have to check it out the Miller indices. Okay, then we will find out which type of phases are present, whether BCC, HCP, etc. Okay, then you have to give the numbers. Later we go for final analysis. Then we may have the standard charts, and for with reference to the charts we have to check with this 30. It's not a first peak is not in 30, it may be counted as a 31, and second peak it is lies between 40 to 50, but it's not in exact middle, maybe we consider as a 46. Okay, you have to check this peak level with the standard chart. At 46, which element have the peak? 31, which element have the peak? You have to check. Then you have to identify with that element, and you have the 200 and another peak 220, right? And you have to check whether that element have the same million indices or not. Then only you can say that this peaks or belongs to that element. So what I used or what I purchased from the market is exactly that element only. This is also another cross verification which is given by most of the researchers. So after doing research or after developing some alloys, we need proof. You cannot say that I have added 5% of aluminum, 10% of titanium, 16% of tungsten, and I made one new material. So they will ask for proof. These are all the proofs. So if you are using three elements, mean three peaks will come. For each material, as I told, peaks will be come at particular interval. Okay, so you have to compare and you have to show it is possible to use these three elements and make some alloys, and these are all the proofs which is taken from the XRD. For this type of analysis already proved and is existing, because those days is very difficult to understand and identify the elements percentage, phase percentage, etc. in a particular material after developing the alloys or anything. Okay, so they used the Dirac equations to justify this thing. So based on the Dirac equations only, I told you 20 to 2035 Nobel Prizes has been awarded based by using the simple equations. They discovered new applications, so they got Nobel Prizes. Okay, so students, any doubts with the XRDs? Any doubt with XRDs? No doubts.